How's it going? This is Aaron Tunstall with TSN, Cisco TSN GVE. Making this video for Peter Keel. Submitted a case to TSN. I'm sorry, Peter Keeling, who submitted a case to TSN about getting some help on a Meraki solution that he's working on. Really trying to look at the way they authenticate their users without having to have a certificate, on the end device. So I'm going to show you, just some ways you can look at modified authentication type within the Meraki dashboard using just the Meraki APs that you already have in place. And there's a step further you can take with doing a little bit more if you had a MX appliance, which is really just a firewall. But without that, with just just Meraki APs, that's what we're going to look at. So this is my Meraki dashboard here for my home network. So I'm already on the Meraki wire, my network, wireless up there. I'm going to come over to SSIDs, go from wireless over to SSIDs, and then I'm going to see my different SSIDs I have here. So one way you could, add your authentication is by, first of all, just adding another SSID or modifying an existing SSID. And in this case, these two are already existing for me. I've added one called Peter Guest. So I enabled it first, I took it from disable to enable mode, and then I renamed it Peter Guest. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit the settings. So, and the purpose of this again is just to show you what that dashboard looks like, so you can see some of the things that are available to you. So right off the back, right around network access, you can have it wide open. User gets on, finds SSID, and they have full access, right? Or you can start to step that back, a couple layers. You can do it with the pre-shared key. You can do it with tying it to LDAP, right? If you want to have your enterprise, you can do it with your radius server. You can tie it in that way as well. If you really want it to get down right, you can enter in your MAC addresses and start doing it based on MAC based access control via your radius server. So you really have some control that's in place there. But then in addition to that, next thing, you can incorporate a splash page, right? You can determine whether or not you want to have them do a click through, go through a couple of screens, yes, advertising, whatever case may be, before they actually get on to the network. You can have obviously no splash page. You can do it with a customized splash page if you want to use company logo, things of that nature. So again, you have those options available to you as well. So you can see it here, some of the options. If you do it with the sign-on, you can do it via radius, where you can tie it to your Active Directory, Facebook authentication, or I should say not authentication, but I should say Facebook sign-on, etc. So those are available to you, and it's just, again, it just really depends on how grand you want to get. So if you had users already kind of tied into this and authenticated, you could then go here and you could do additional things on a per user basis. I don't have any users specifically tied to here, so it's not going to be applicable for me. But that's just something that you can, like I said, you can dive down a little deeper in. Let's go back over to the SSIDs. Go back and see what I was working on. Okay. So, again, you can do policing, traffic shaping. All that is available by default. You can do it kind of per device, based on the device type. You can do it by the SSID that a person comes across on, and as well as you can look at it with firewall. You can have certain rules and policies in place via firewall, and then traffic shape based on those rules. So that's available to you too. Hey, I want all my Netflix traffic to go extremely slow, or I want to give them small pipe, so Netflix isn't bogging down my network, etc. So you can do that right here, default with just the Meraki AP setup. Another thing that's you can have group policies. So you can set up group policies here. You can apply that group policy so based on that group policy, you can have certain yes, no. And that's really a part of that whole kind of, you can look at it from a provisioning standpoint. So based on the type of device you have, right? So the Meraki AP is smart enough to be able to fingerprint and be able to tell based on the MAC address what type of device it is. Android, iPad, iPhone, Mac, Windows, across the board, and then based on that, it can determine, how it wants to treat that traffic or that device type, based on the group that it's associated to. So you can go back. I'll show you where you go to create those group policies here in a second, but you would then be able to pull from those group policies here. You would have additional ones if you created more here, and you'd be able to apply those accordingly. So again, some more control that you can have, based on the user type and authentication that you want to give them. So then, yeah, we already talked about the traffic shaping. And here, you just, again, this is less about authentication, just more going into the, things you can do just within the layer 3, layer 2, whether you want to have roaming set up so they can jump between AP to AP that's in the same network, but yet keep their same IP address. All of those things, kind of happen here. So another actually unique thing is VLAN tagging, right? So if you wanted to tag traffic, to a specific VLAN, then let's say you had a network set up already on your wired network, and already VLAN across, then you could associate that VLAN here, so that anybody coming on that you want to be on that guest network and you want to be on that student network, you can tag that traffic with the appropriate VLAN, and you can have the continuity between the wired and wireless. So yeah, so these are all things you can do again within just by default on the Meraki dashboard. We talked about group policy. So in here, this is just taking it down, some of the stuff we looked at, taking it a bit further. So setting up those firewall rules, setting up layer 3 or layer 7 firewall rules, customizing that splash page, how you want that SSID availability. Do you want that SSID that you created, Peter guest, to be visible across all APs or only certain APs? You have that control over that. So let's move a bit further over to group policy. So go up to the main network wide, right, and we can look at what we set up those group policies. So leave this page. We'll add a group, and here you have. So yeah, so you can name that. So we call it Peter Test. We're gonna worry about the scheduling, bandwidth. Just for giggles, we'll go ahead and let's see. Won't be that harsh. Won't be that nice either. We get 5 megabit pipe, right? So firewall traffic shaping. Again, we talked about this. You can either do it through what you already had set up on the other side with the SSID firewall shaping rules that you already applied. You can leave that. You can choose to ignore it. Or you can create your own custom firewall and shaping rules. And we'll just go ahead and click on that. So yeah, so if I wanted to add a layer 7 rule, I could do it here. If I wanted add just a regular layer 5 rule with IP address protocol, I could do that as well. Talk about traffic shaping. If I wanted to again have it tagged to a VLAN, I could do that here. So all that traffic is coming through based on that type of user. So if it's Android user, I want all Android users to go on the guest pods. I want all Android users to be tied to this VLAN, or anybody coming across this IP address or this type of traffic won't tag to this VLAN. So you can have some control that way. We already talked about splash page, etc. So I could create that group, and then I would then be able to turn around and let's see. Go there, we'll go back over to our SSIDs, settings, and then we should, let's see, yep, beta test there. So again, you can customize the policy how you see fit and use that as a way to also um, determine how you want users to gain access to your network. It's just another way that you can do it. And let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for the most part in terms of within the SSID. Looking at the access control, those are gonna be your options on how you want that done, how you want that kind of profiling, because it can do that, how you want that provisioning to take place. These are things again that you can use within the default Meraki setup to be able to create some control around your users and the traffic. If you had an MX device, right, the only additional things you get with that are mainly your firewall type activities. The big thing is the site to VPN. Very easy to set up, but again, it is it's a security appliance, but it's a firewall, essentially a firewall. So you can just think about the additional firewall type capabilities that you would get, and that's where the MX appliance would come in. So you can determine whether or not that's a play or a need for you, but ultimately this is what you're working with based on your description. So I'm going to end this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know what your thoughts are and any additional support that you may need. Thanks.